Only 10 seconds away from the start, and they're racing off the line. Glenn Seaton wins the start. One of the few he's done all season, and skates down on the grass, trying to get through, and it's gone, and so is Tony Longhurst. I'd like to check whether that is Mark.
It's Mark Scaife.
Oh, he had a wheel on the dirt down there. That is not the way they wanted to finish the grand final. Tony Longhurst gets going in the Benson and Hedges car. Little over anxious, and that'll bring him onto the racetrack again. But I'll tell you what, the field has bolted, and look at them up at the start.
Absolutely fantastic start by Glenn Seaton. I don't think I've ever seen him get such a great start. John bugged on the line.
Oh, look at Larry. He's all out of shape too under brakes. They're pushing and shoving as they come through toward the bridge. Oh, it looks like Stephen Johnson, has been in trouble in that first lap too. That's really hectic stuff as the V8 swing through, but it's Seaton versus the Shell cars. And the whole racing team, the Coca-Cola up there in fourth.
Look at this gaggle. Unreal.
Plenty of privateers out there today. First of the Coke cars going through, Johnny Bow back a little further than he wanted to be after starting off the front. And look at this for a shot over the top of the camera. The fast ones go over the top. Those not so fast go to the left.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. 170 kilometres an hour the V8s are topping as they come across the dogleg. But here they come across the start-finish line for the first time. It's Johnson in second.
A bit of smoke coming out of... Oh, that doesn't look good.
Doesn't look like a flat tyre. There's something rubbing there.
Well, we'll wait and see because...
Well, Dick Johnson up in a second spot. Boy, what a spot for him. He hasn't been this far up in a long, long time, and he's not about to let that Blue Falcon in front of him get too far away.
What I liked about Dick on the exit to that turn, he was throwing up a little bit of dust for everyone to get on with. Here's the battle. As we take Dunlop Racecam riding with Dick Johnson into the right-hander, he's tailing Glenn Seaton, who leads the grand final before a new record crowd at Oran Park. Tony Perich, the promoter, in only 30 seconds ago to say this is the biggest crowd they've ever had at Oran Park. So the state of V8 racing in Australia is pretty good.
Just seems to be on the upswing, doesn't it? Here we go, down into the dip.
Oh, there's Mark Scaife limping into the pits.
No good today.
That start coming together between Tony Longhurst and Winfield. Very expensive for Mark Scaife, but here's the battle.
I think Mark pressured a bit with a bad starting position and just trying to make hay off the start line, but can't do it on the grass. Whatever happened.
Great run from Dickie Johnson. This fifth fastest in the warm-up this morning, showing a lot of speed there. Keep in mind too, it's 1990 was the last time Dickie Johnson won a round of the Touring Car Championship. A long time between drinks for the veteran, but boy, he's on the pace here today.
Well, he's right up here behind Glenn Seaton. Then the first of the Commodores for the Telecom HRT team, Wayne Gardner.
Well,
Neil Crompton is also up to in the top 5, I think up to 4th spot there as well. Let's have a look at that as Mark Scaife is in the pits. They're checking to see if there's any damage. Looks like
bad ding in the back guard there, Mike.
So that has set him offline. There he was on the grass. Off he went. So too Tony Longhurst with Mark Scaife. He is the champion-elect. You can't be beaten for the title, but not the way you'd want to finish. You'd want to do the right thing here today for your race team, Gibson Motorsport. And that really means that even in the second race today, unless he's got a bag of tricks, he'll have to do it off the back of the field. In the meantime, Glenn Seaton wants desperately to get 2 points up on Peter Brock. That'll put them even in the championship going into the last race. And the man stalking him, the pride of Queensland, Dick Johnson, the Shell FAI Falcon, looking superb here this weekend.
1,000 horsepower coming down the main straight there with 2 cars alone, and don't they sound strong?
Glenn Seaton's already put in a 1:9.51. That's about a second off their qualifying pace, so they're not mucking about here. Full tanks of fuel. And keep in mind, they've got another 21 lap heat to go after this, so they're really getting stuck into it in finals day at Oran Park today.
Dunlop Racecam round of Dick's windscreen here, and he's actually edging up on Glenn.
Sure
he's
is.
Sneaking through here on these tight right switchback corners on the approach to the bridge.
The little, we have that little puff of blue smoke's gone away. Let's go down to the pits and to Andy.
Yeah, thanks very much, Mike. Mark, you've wrapped the championship up, but it's not the start to the day you would have liked.
No, it's not. We got a great start. We fired past a fair few, and Tony didn't see me in the background or in the mirror, and he come straight across, and when he came across, the wheels hit each other fairly hard, and it's broke a suspension pickup point or something. So a little bit disappointing, obviously, but you know, we'll get on with it next time.
At a high-speed track, handling problems are the last thing you'd want, especially around here.
Well, not just handling things. You know, it's affected the brakes and the steering, so you just can't drive the car.
Safe from the pits. We hope to see you back, Mark.
Thanks, mate.
Okay, Mark Scaife there, very disappointed young man, wrapping up the championship, but not the attention here today. We go back to AJ, and he's making a move on Crompton.
Down on the inside.
And look who's behind him too.
Yeah,
the Larrikin Larry straight up the inside.
Look at that on rails going around there. The Castrol car handling like a dream.
Keep in mind too that Johnny Bauer, we were away that interview with Scaife, he snuck through on Crompton, so Crompton's been shuffled back a bit, but he's fighting back here with Larry.
Look at the dust everywhere. These guys are kicking up plenty of debris onto the track. That's not going to be making for good traction every corner.
Gee, the Coca-Cola cars have been impressive at Oran Park today. The second fastest and fourth fastest in the warm-up this morning. Very fast here on Friday. So they're really making inroads as we're just knocking on the door of the endurance races.
Well, Peter Malloy always said that his engines breathed better when they were sucking in New South Wales air. Claimed there was a bit of contaminants in the air in the other states, but he's happier here today.
Well, his team is looking fabulous. Oh, what a great shot as they come downhill again. And Neil Crompton finds Larrikin Larry in the Castrol machine right behind him. And Wayne is back one spot in arrears.
Larry in the slipstream here. He'll shadow Crompton down the main straight. But no flies on Neil Crompton. He's got that car handling well as well and driving it extremely well.
This is the battle for 6th and 7th position. And here's the battle for 1st and 2nd position. This is where the pay area is today. And Dick Johnson, boy, hasn't he got some speed in race trim?
He's definitely shadowing. He's more than shadowing. He's monstering Glenn here. Glenn won't want to make the slightest mistake. Let's not take away anything from the PJ driver. He's got his handle on it here today as well.
Glenn would probably love to be able to conserve in this race and have nice tyres for the second. He's got to get away from Brock, but Brock won't go away. Brock is sitting there on the tail of Dick Johnson. And the point split could make them dead even after this race. They run up again to the dogleg, coming down to the left.
Very tricky through here. It looks simple, but believe me, anything but simple. Again here, a tight one, left hand, just apex that corner. Slow. Look how that, you couldn't put a razor blade between those cars and the wall there. That takes real judgment to fling those 1,300 kilos around.
It's going to be a great battle too in the tyre war, Alan, because they're consistently lapping in the 9s at the moment, and they're only 5-6 laps into the race.
Well, Dick's the Dunlop man in the sandwich between two Bridgestones here, so he's going to want to hold up the honour of Dunlop here this afternoon.
This is the battle for 4th and 5th, and poor old Johnny Bauer, that new Falcon he got delivered midway through the season, has got dents and scrapes all over it once again.
Well, it's still running strongly, and Alan Jones is right behind John Bauer to keep him honest. I think it's going to tighten up in the second half of this race. Our race leader, Glenn Seaton, not getting away from Dick Johnson, and Peter Brock is sitting right in there behind. Whoop, a couple of stones up.
Clunk.
He's throwing rocks at Brock. Oh, and some more.
And again, and again.
Brock,
One more
have the
time.
windscreen wipers on shortly.
Should hear it again. There we go. There we have Dick just getting the apex of that corner beautifully, sliding over to the wall again.
This is where the real action is. Wayne Gardner now closing in on his teammate Neil Crompton. Two Coca-Cola cars increasingly competitive this weekend. So they start across the start-finish line. And this is the battle for 7th and 8th. So they're still in the top 10, but Crompton, after that brilliant start, certainly slipping back in the field a little bit. His times aren't that bad, but...
out of the way, son. You're the number 2 for the moment.
Oh, I don't think there's too much of that. I think Wayne plays it pretty straight bat as far as Neil is concerned. And when Neil can do it, he does it. And when Wayne can do it, he does it.
Absolutely.
That's a great team.
But at the moment, Gardner, his race setup seems to be a little better than Neil's, because he's been able to pick him up past a couple of cars and now start to go and run at the leaders. And Jimmy Richards is the next one who'll be up on the tail of Neil Crompton, followed by Thomas Mazzera.
Well, Wayne Gardner was just a little unhappy with his qualifying run yesterday. They only get 10 minutes to do it, and everything has to be just spot on, and he didn't get the run that he wanted. Got balked a couple of times, and as such just didn't qualify as well as he wanted, but he's doing well here now this afternoon.
He sure is.
Alan Jones moved up from 8th qualifying position. He's 5th. This is the battle for 4th and 5th between John Bauer and Alan Jones. The Falcons really have been quick here all weekend.
This is good for Bathurst.
They sound like 10 men. Not that the Chevs don't sound good, but I do have an ear for the Ford engine. I don't know why.
And not the slightest bit of bias.
No,
not at all. No, we don't have any bias in this booth. It leans a little bit from time to time, but there's no actual bias.
To the right-hander beneath the Dunlop Bridge, AJ and John Bower. They're getting closer. Certainly Alan's getting closer to John.
Interesting too, in front of this battle, Peter Brock currently running third. He has been the fastest man on the track in this opening heat of 109.27. That's a new lap record in this new V8 class, so Brocky would appear to have plenty in reserve at this stage.
Well, Shell traditionally put on an end-of-year dinner for all the competitors at the circuit tonight, and naturally, if you can't win the championship, you certainly want to get up there on the dais and get a thank you for taking the prize money out here today. So everybody's really trying.
It's always got a great vibe about it, grand final day at Oran Park, and just so pleased for a championship that came here today already resolved. So the spectators are here basically to watch the racing rather than see a new champion crown. It's not going down to the wire, and for an all-time record crowd to turn out at Oran Park for this is just fabulous.
It's just been so ultra competitive too, hasn't it? Top 11 cars covered by less than 1 second in qualifying. It seems to happen everywhere we go. The top 10 under the fastest lap set last year, they really are flying. And Bathurst could have some whole new lap records when we get there this year.
The Fords continue to lead, but Peter Perfect is getting closer in the 05 mobile telecom entry. HRT doing a fabulous job today. He's had a wonderful season so far.
He played around a lot during Friday and Saturday sessions to get it just right. He wasn't totally happy with his car, and bouncing a little bit there, still chasing a little bit of setup, but overall this team has done wonders this year. Ron Harrop has stepped in and helped in the engineering sense, and the cars have gone faster and faster every event, and Peter Brock has just found a new lease of life here this season, and good on him.
Some people considered Brocky's best really behind him. I don't think so. He's in a very competitive car, having a great run this season. Really overjoyed to be looking ahead to Bathurst. And there they go, 1, 2.
Half distance in the race now.
Yeah, we'll do the pickup.
Okay.
I'll exchange a shot. Half distance, and the battle between the two Fords continues with Glenn Seaton and the Peter Jackson Falcon, and right behind him, the pride of Queensland, Dickie Johnson. There's Peter Brock right behind them. Brock won this race at the corresponding meeting last year.
Plenty's going to happen here in the next 3 or 4 laps. Dick Johnson's just waiting. We saw a bit of brake tapping there by Glenn Seaton at the end of the straight, just making sure he was happy with that pedal. I'm sure nothing untoward, but certainly Dick Johnson won't have missed that little caper. And the Shell FIA cars have been stopping on a zack every time they've had to. Peter Brock just looming there, waiting for either one of these two in front of him to make the slightest oops.
It's fascinating to see how evenly matched these leading 3 cars are too, Alan. These are the only guys now in the 9s. The others have slipped up into 1:10 area.
Yeah, no, this is real competition at its best. 3 top teams, all capable of putting fine machinery in the hands of their drivers, and those drivers executing fabulous lap times here this morning.
As Peter Brock proved at Eastern Creek too, he really gazumped everyone with his tyre choice there. Everyone thought he'd gone too soft, and he absolutely streeted the field. And he's doing very, very good job here too.
Well, Brocky's been working with Bridgestones his whole career. He certainly has a feel.
Oops, there's Alan Jones, got a flat tyre. He's headed to the pits. Wretched luck there for AJ, because he was running very strongly in the top 5.
Sure was.
So he's headed in for a quick pit stop. Barry Seaton is there. Just watch the Barry Seaton team.
As the airline goes on the front of the car goes up on the pogo sticks. The jacks are on board. There are no mechanical jacks. Look how hot the brake, smoke coming off the brakes there. Nothing, no great problem. He's lost his tail light, or his parking light. I don't think he'll be worrying about flashing that this afternoon.
That was a
good stop. Good
yeah,
stop. Should be able to do that in about 15 seconds, and I think they were just about on there with that kind of time, but the wheel's extremely hot. Guys did a good job there. Here we have Dick Johnson with Dunlop Race Cam up onto the main straight again, moving to the left just to miss the Armco. He better miss that Armco. It's pretty damn solid. Now,
Dick still there, and Brocky all over the tail of the Shell FAI Falcon. We mentioned earlier that Dick's son, Stephen, affectionately referred to as Junior Johnson, having his first run today. And after qualifying superbly yesterday in the Fuddruckers Falcon, a restaurant hamburger chain, he is up running 10th. That is just unbelievable. We'll try and get a shot of you at the moment. We're waiting to see whether or not Dick Johnson can make any ground here. In fact, it looks like he's just dropping back a bit off seat, and he's going to have to contend with Brock here in a moment.
Brock's certainly on Johnson's case now.
This really is a tyre battle here. We don't know which way they've gone. Some gone conservative, some a little bit soft. And the proof of the pudding is going to be in this race, and particularly in Heat 2, as the tyres really start to head south. Brock is really closing in on Johnson here.
Well, Dick knows what's needed here to keep it under control. They've got a lap car here to deal with, the 44 car as they exit the turn, but he hangs over to the right. Dick's running like a house on fire here today. You're looking good, son.
Yeah, at the moment, Mike, the old tyres are about to say we've had enough, I think.
Don't say it. Come on, mate. You've got an old bloke behind you. Remember that. He's no problem to you.
Okay, Dick, we'll let you go for a moment.
Thanks,
got a problem here with the Komatsu car of Kevin Waldock.
Boy.
He was running so hot, he's actually smoked the wheels and tyres off the car.
Kevin was running 15th, I think it was. Now the tyres on fire.
You picked a fine time to leave me loose well. Yes, we've heard that one before.
See if we can get that one out. Bit of a barbecue on the infield.
Oh!
Whoa, goes off at his face.
Have a look at this and see what happened. He lost it when the wheel and tyre left.
Gonna have to do a little rethink there.
That doesn't happen. You don't see that all that often.
While we cut away there, Peter Brock, he did too. He was threatening to do it. He snuck through on the inside of Dick Johnson. So Brock up to second position, apparently opening up a little gap on the 17 Shell Falcon. As Johnson said in our cross just before, perhaps tyres a little bit soft for the contest. So Brock holding up the Holden honour, sets out in chase of Seaton, who continues to lead. And there's Johnson in third, John Bow in fourth, Larry Perkins in fifth, Gardner in sixth, Crompton in seventh. That's the top seven as Brock now picks his way through the back markers. Well,
and Dick Johnson, we hear is losing power, so he is starting to battle.
Well, certainly Brocky was waiting for the slightest weakness in the Shell car, and he took advantage of it. Now, whether he can get any closer to Glenn Seaton and make life miserable for him, second place in the championship at stake here.
Well, that would seem to make sense. Johnson's just done a 1:12, but the other guys are running in 1:10, so he's dropped 2 seconds somewhere.
He's hurting there. I think that'd be a bit more than tyres doing that to him.
Yeah.
Rocky is really actually getting closer to Seaton. Although he might have a bit of a roadblock here.
Alan Jones, I can see Alan pointing out to the side, giving Brock racing room.
Yeah, good room there, good sporting gesture.
So Brocky really is taking chunks out of this lead. It's down to 2.2 seconds as they came across the start-finish line.
He's taking the ripple strip up onto the straight. That's an indication that he just wants to make sure that that wall doesn't give him a little kiss on the way out.
Well, he's chopped it down 1.3 seconds this time around. So Brock, well, it's a visual gap. You can see he's taking big chunks out of Seaton's lead.
5 laps to go too, so a pass on Seaton is certainly achievable inside the distance. If Seaton wins this, he'll pick up enough points to go 2 up over Brock in the championship for second place, and that is, I think, what he would have on his mind at the moment too.
This really is, as you say, Mike, a battle for the championship within a championship. A lot of pride runner-up in the 94 Shell Australian Touring Car Championship, and this is going right down to the wire between these two great adversaries in opposite makes of car.
Here we have it, the Mobil 1 machine.
Johnson
and unfortunately, Lansvale into the wall. He had a few troubles and might have had an altercation, but certainly hurt the Lansvale car. Steve Reed will be disappointed.
44 car back under power again as they head down beneath the bridge.
I think that'll pretty well sew up the Privateers Dunlop Cup for Bobby Jones in the Ampol Max 3 car. Here's our leader.
Tooheys 1000.
Have a drink, mate.
Oh, no, I can't even say that. Carrying out Tooheys 1000 race cam. 4 laps to go. Still the man that was champion last year is giving it his fighting best for Ford here today. And a huge turnout of Ford fans willing young Glenn Seaton on in an equal number, if not more. willing Brocky on to pick up second, and Brocky's on the move.
Certainly Peter's not short of fans, neither is Glenn.
Alan Jones coming in again for another pit stop. So he has some problems here with the number 30 car. We'll bring you up to date with those shortly as Seaton tries to stretch it over Brock. Brocky just will not go away.
He's really got that car on the fly, and you can see him flowing the car. Look at the speed down through that little dip up here, the left-hander. Now onto the dog leg.
Is Johnson going through too?
I'll tell you what's also interesting, these are the only guys now who are still circulating the 1:09 second bracket. Everyone else has slipped in the 10s, 11s and beyond, so these boys have really picked a good race setup.
Well, they sure have, and they're executing themselves brilliantly here.
3 laps to go in the first heat of round 10, the grand final at Oran Park Raceway in Sydney. Glenn Seaton, the Peter Jackson Falcon, still trying to fend off Peter Brock, who's been gaining on him the last couple of laps. The exit there beneath the Dunlop Bridge. Sure
has. That last time around he was 0.3 of a second quicker than Seaton, so he's really got a lot of race speed on board.
It's definitely exciting for a driver to get this close and have full control of your car and be able to pace yourself at a speed you know you have to. You can see what you have to do and just ever so slowly get up onto that bumper bar. And of course the fellow in front, he gets worried silly, trembling knees. He doesn't even have one. I remember myself never even want to look in the rearview mirror unless I got a flash of color automatically up alongside my door. I didn't want to know anybody was that close to me.
So you're having a trembling knee yourself?
I certainly did.
I thought we were just friends. So over the camera again, heading down into the left-hander.
Certainly plenty of Ford and Holden pride on the line here. When they went to Wanneroo Raceway in WA, the balance was 6 Holden wins to 2 Ford wins. Hopefully Alan Jones levelling it up, so there's a chance here to bring the levels up between the Ford and the Holdens, and Seaton will be pushing hard to do that.
He's got 2 laps to do it in. Mark down to the left-hander at Coke Corner again. Brocky is closer than he has been through the entire race. We're going to get a super charge here from Brocky with 1 3/4 lap still remaining. The right-hander comes up next for Seaton. There's Peter Perfect. The exit there, and they're coming up.
Little traffic in front. Seaton will be saying, "Get out of my way, mate. I don't need you just at the moment."
Brocky's still going quicker. He pulled 0.2 of a second off Seaton's time that time around, so he's really gathering him up as his race wears on.
He got a fabulous...
This is going to be tight. This bloke is actually going to hold him up. I don't know how he's going to get around him. No, he did hold him up. Brocky capitalized. Look at this. Just flying through there. Peter would have got a better run through that corner, although we're looking out the back through to his race cam. He's not quite on his bumper bar yet.
Listen to the crowd warming up the Holden and Ford fans here at Oran Park. It's jam-packed.
They're getting pretty animated.
They sure are. Last lap board ready to come out as they come across the strike.
Here we go. 2.62 kilometres to go for these 2 great rivals, Glenn Seaton and Peter Brock.
He's in the stream now. If he needs to, he might think about trying to nail him under brakes here on the inside.
He was thinking about it.
He was.
And Seaton had that all counted. Now he's got to get across
Switchback
here.
maneuver.
Stay to the right-hand side under the bridge.
This is going to be tough on Glenn. He's got to place it just perfectly. Still looking good, though, for the Peter Jackson Falcon.
Now you exit here and get across to the right.
Brock will be looking for every opportunity. He'll probably hug in behind Seaton across the bridge, but wham, as they come up with the dog leg. Let's see what happens here.
He wasn't going to do it there. Now he's got to try and make it really hug it out. Look at Brock sideways coming through there.
Threw the power into it. 4-wheel drift.
This is the Brock of old. Loving every moment of his racing again in 94. Oran Park, the fans treated to an absolute spectacle. A knockdown, drag-out championship final. Coming up over the dogleg for the final time. Listen for the crowd down on the bottom turn. Comes down on the brakes, down through the gears, out of the last corner.
Hang on to it, Seaton.
And the 93 champion gets up to beat the master. Glenn Seaton and the Peter Jackson Falcon beats Peter Brock across the line.
Great driving. Great driving by both drivers.
Dick Johnson finishes back there in third. John Bow, his teammate, 1 behind him. Larry Perkins, Wayne Gardner, Neil Crompton and Thomas Mazzera.